Okay, so good evening, everyone. Today we are from group one, and today we will like to have a presentation about assessing listening. Next, before we start, I would like to introduce you to our group member. First of all, there is Ananda Haikal, there is Firdausyi, there is Limanto, and me as the moderator, Salsa. There is also Viandra, and there is also Wendy. Next, so we're just gonna get straight to the point. So before we can assess listening, we need to first understand what is listening comprehension. So, listening comprehension refers to the ability to understand and interpret spoken language, involving the simultaneous processing of linguistic, contextual, and inferential information to grasp the meaning conveyed by the speaker. Next. So, uh, I would like to tell you guys the key points of the listening comprehension. The first one is listening comprehension is not merely a process of decoding language. It involves active inferencing and hypothesis building to construct meaning. The second is automatic process. Automatic processing plays a crucial role in successful listening, emphasizing the importance of fast and efficient language processing in real time. And the last one is listening is a highly individual and personal process influenced by the listener's knowledge, experience, thoughts, and feelings. And the next slide will be presented by Viandra.
Okay, we are going to talk about assessing technique. So we are going to talk about three assessing techniques, which is performance-based, multiple methods, and task-based. So the first one is performance-based. So performance-based assessments measure a student's ability to understand and respond to real-life listening situations. It often involves activities like listening to a lecture, a conversation, or a piece of music, followed by answering questions or performing related tasks. And the second one is multiple methods. So multiple methods of assessment involve a combination of various evaluation techniques such as quizzes, tests, presentations, and observations. So using multiple methods ensures a more comprehensive understanding of a student's listening skill as it assesses their performance from different angles. And the last one is task-based assessment. So task-based involves assigning specific tasks that require effective listening skills. These tasks can include summarizing a conversation, answering questions based on a recorded speech, or participating in a group discussion. So task-based assessments focus on the practical application of listening skills and encourage students to actively engage with the content. So that is all for me, and the next slide will be discussed by Wendy. Okay.
So, in this part, we're going to talk about designing constructs. Well, before we design the contrast, we need to know what is the purposes of assessing listening. The first one is for general language proficiency. As you all know, that listening is one of the major skills that is being assessed for, as it is the most easiest one to assess. The second one is representing oral skill. Though in oral skills, we also need to measure speaking as one of the most major skills, but we can also assess listening as it is also represented in oral skills, because in oral skills, listening is the receptive one. Next one is assessing achievement. Well, in assessing achievement, we as a teacher need to assess this, because in listening there are some achievement that students can achieve. The next one is the for diagnostic test. Well, in diagnostic tests, we as a teacher need to know which level or the student is. Is it in the intermediate? Is it in the upper intermediate? Is it in beginner? Or is it on advanced level? Next. In task base, we are going to measure 5 things. And this is 5 things that needs to be considered when we are constructing listening comprehension skills. Assessment, I mean. The first one is the setting. Whether the students is in the good mood, whether the place is clear for the students to hear without any noises. The second one is test rubric. So this is for the test writers, because in this test rubric we need to meet this, because in it is to make sure that the score that is being given by the test takers, test writers, is as equal as much as possible. The third one is input. So what does input mean is the fact that the listening passages and other accompanying materials is suitable, and it really helps us to measure some kinds of skills. The fourth one is expected responses. So in this part, we need to measure the response expected from the test taker from the text. And the fifth one, the relationship between the input and response, and whether the relationship is direct or indirect. These are five things that need to be considered when we are making text-based listening assessment. So that's all from me. The next slide will be presented by Firdausyi. Firdausyi, time is yours.
Now is to the creating text. When creating tests for listening tests, there are several important factors to consider. The first one is setting and physical characteristics. It is crucial to ensure a good acoustic and a minimal background noise in the testing environment. The quality of the listening experience can be affected by factors such as the use of headphones, the clarity of recording, and the size of speaker. The next one is participant. Test administrator should be efficient and knowledgeable about the audio equipment being used. They should also ensure a quiet environment during the test administration to avoid distraction. Additionally, administrator who provide live text should be familiar with the instruction and pay attention to any pauses in the script. The next one is test rubric. The test rubric should provide structure to the test and task. It should be explicit in the test and can increase the authenticity of the test by replicating real-world listening purposes. The next one is instruction. It needs to be clear, simple, and explicit. Instructions should be provided to test takers on how to complete the task. Misunderstanding a question can result in incorrect answer, so it is important to provide clear instruction. The next one is task characteristic. Tasks should be designed to be operationalized the construct being tested. Different task type can be used to represent the whole construct, and the test specification should outline this test in detail. The next one is time allotment. The timing of the test is usually determined by sequence of tests, text, and tasks. Test developers need to ensure enough time is allowed for the activities and should practice the timing of activities to standardize administration. The final one is scoring method. Tests should be scorable, meaning that it should be possible to determine whether responses are correct or incorrect based on the listening passage. Clear and unequivocal interpretation of the text should be used to avoid ambiguity in scoring. Next slide. Okay, this one is will by Limanto. Limanto, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. It's my turn. Providing suitable text. The finding suitable audio materials is more limited. You know what I mean? It means the material to finding such an audio for material study is limited and don't have any related. While we can use existing audio or create our own, preserving spoken language is tougher. And audio resources are often scarcer. Creating audio recordings is also more complex and requires more equipment compared to writing text. It means we need in creating audio recording, we need more equipment, more than the writing text. With the writing text, we can use our own mind or our own brain to use what word we're gonna use to write in the text. The first is finding pre-recorded text. Language educators often use recorded teaching materials, and many of us have access to a wealth of audio content on the internet. It's quite convenient to utilize some of these existing audio resources, such as broadcasting companies, the internet, teaching materials, copyright task.
Thank you, Young, for the time. First of all, I apologize because I can put on my camera because my cat just pushed the wrong button. I don't know. Okay, we continue to the assignment design. So, assignment design refers to the process of creating and structuring tests or projects that students need to complete as part of their academic coursework. It involves careful planning and consideration various factors such as learning objective, student engagement, assessment criteria, and the development of critical thinking skills. The designs of an assignment aims to facilitate learning, encourage student participation, and assess their understanding and mastery of the subject matter. Next slide. Okay, there are some effective assignment design criteria that is typically incorporates on these following elements. First is clear learning objective. Clearly defined goals that outline what students are expected to learn or achieve through the assignment. Appropriate task structure. A well-defined structure that guides the students appropriate task structure. A well-defined structure that guides students on how to approach and complete the assignment successfully. Relevant and engaging content. Assignments should be relevant to the subject matter and should stimulate students' interest and motivation to learn. Alignment with curriculum standard. An assignment should be aligned with an assignment should be aligned with the overall curriculum and course learning outcomes to ensure coherence and continuity in student learning. And then the last one is assessment criteria. Clearly defined criteria that outline how the assignment will be evaluated and graded, including specific guideline for assessing the quality of student work. Maybe that is all that I can explain from the slide. Back to the moderator, please.
Moderator.
Okay. I think that's all from our group today. I hope you guys can understand our explanation about assessing listening. And that's all. Thank you for listening. Good evening, everyone.